choking myself.
Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Ferndale City Council meeting for Monday, December 19, 2016. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Marnie, would you call the roll, please?
Councilmembers Leaks May.
Here.
Martin.
Here.
Polika. Mayor Pro Tem Piana.
Here.
And Mayor Coulter.
Here, thank you. Next item of business would be the approval of the agenda.
Actually, may I put in an excused absence for Councilman Greg Polika?
Yes. Is there support?
Support.
All right, without objection, we will excuse Councilman Polika's absence, who's on vacation, by the way. All right, next item of business then would be the approval of the agenda.
Your Honor, I'd like to suggest a change that we move the police awards from presentation 4D to 4A, or 4A to the front.
All right, we can do that. Anything else? Then a motion would be in order.
I would move that we accept the agenda as amended.
Support.
Moved by Martin and supported by Piana. Any last discussion on the agenda? Marnie, would you call the roll, please?
Councilmembers Leaks May.
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Piana.
Yes.
And Mayor Coulter.
Yes, thank you. The agenda is adopted. So moving on to presentations, and I guess we will do the introduction. If you're wondering who all these folks are in the chambers, we'll do the introduction of our new police officers and dispatchers. Chief?
Thank you, Your Honor.
I think we got a mic there for you. Yep. All right.
Good evening, everyone. This evening, we would like to introduce 5 new individuals, employees of the City of Ferndale. We were a little remiss in introducing our 2 new dispatchers, so I'd like to call them up now. First off, Dispatcher Edward Jones. Ed's been with us since August. Ed is kind of cool, is that he is a graduate of in 2012 of the University High School in Ferndale.
Oh, yes. We love that. Yeah.
He's also attending Kennery University. He's been with us since August, like I said, and he's one of our newest dispatcher. He's just beginning to see what it's like on midnight shifts from Dave, so it's a learning experience. Also, I'd like to call forward Jacob Fields. Jacob is a graduate of Carlson High School in Rockwood, Michigan. He's attending Liberty University currently, majoring in criminal justice. Jacob served 6 years in the Cavalry Scout Unit of the U.S. Army, where he attained the rank of sergeant. He was honorably discharged in November of 2016, and we picked him up on November 21st. So he's our 2 new dispatchers here, and that fills up our position, so we are now fully staffed in the dispatch unit.
All right, congratulations.
Welcome to the force, gentlemen. Thank you.
Next, I'd like to call forward our brand new police officers just started this month. The first one is Jillian Malmeister. Come on up, Jillian. Jillian is a graduate of Warren Cousino High School. She attained her bachelor's degree in criminal justice from Wayne State University. She then went to the great state of Arizona, where she served 7 years with the Phoenix, Arizona Police Department. While she was with Phoenix, Jillian received the Medal of Valor, and she was also Police Officer of the Year for that department.
And she missed winter, or?
I think it was a family obligation that she came back. I think her husband got back.
We'll take it. Thank you.
Next is Michael Freilich. Michael is a graduate of Fraser High School. He's also attained his bachelor's degree in criminal justice from Ferris State University, and he just graduated from the Macomb Police Academy last week, December 14th.
Wow! Congratulations.
This is his second graduate. And last but not least, Lance Walker. Lance, come on up. Lance is a graduate of Greenfield High School in Greenville, Michigan, which is a suburb of Grand Rapids. He has an associate's degree in criminal justice from Lansing Community College. He also just graduated last week from the Mid-Michigan Police Academy in Lansing on December 9th. Lance served 7 years as an administrative and intelligence specialist in the U.S. Marine Corps. He attained the rank of sergeant. He was deployed to Afghanistan, and he received the Navy and Marine Corps Achievement Medal for performance in a combat zone. He was honorably discharged in 2014, and we welcome Lance as well. Thank you very much. And then we'll have a couple of awards as well we would like to present. And Sergeant Brown here, the Community Engagement Officer, is going to take
why don't we do that now as well? That'd be great. Thanks. And congratulations. Welcome to Ferndale.
Yes.
Happy to have you here.
Well, we're going to award 3 life-saving awards. November 13th, at about 4:30, Ferndale Police were dispatched. A motorist had called stating a man had collapsed and was not breathing in the area of West Woodland and Woodward Avenue. Lieutenant Emmy, Officer Lemke, and Officer Skomsky arrived on scene, found a 58-year-old male in the front yard. He was without a pulse and not breathing. Officer Lemke radioed that CPR was being started. Lieutenant Emmy arrived and began rescue breathing, and Officer Skomsky began chest compressions. Officer Lemke applied the AED, and a total of 4 shocks were administered. CPR was continued until Ferndale Fire arrived, and they transferred the man to Beaumont Hospital. And it is believed that because of their quick arrival and action, that the man's life was saved that day. He is in the audience. I don't know if he wants to come up as well, but if he does, he definitely wants to convey his thanks to the officers. So come on up, officers. Lieutenant Emmy. You've seen Officer Skomsky a few times here recently. We also want to mention that this is Officer Lemke's 5th life-saving award.
That's awesome.
Almost unprecedented. That's it.
Great job, folks. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks for all you do. Well, that's going to be hard to top. But our next presentation is the Holiday Light Awards, and I know we have some folks from the Beautification Committee here, Commission here, who are going to present this year's Holiday Light Awards.
Greetings and happy holidays from the Beautification Commission. We were quite busy this month. First of all, I'd like to say that with the holiday lights, we always do a little bus tour. And so, again, like the Halloween awards, sometimes the people are a little surprised when our bus pulls up in front of their house and parks, and they hear some laughter and all that sort of thing going out in the street. But the first house that we would like to recognize is in the Northwest Quadrant, 2332 Highland. And if Paul Wysocki is here, is Paul here? Oh. Just so you know also, we're doing a little candle for everyone that has lit up the city with lights so that they can place it in their window and enjoy that. And then also, we normally have signs printed and in place, but it appears that the printing department in Ferndale has shut down till January the 1st.
Oh, no.
So, they will be getting a sign that they can proudly display in January.
All right.
The next house is in the Northeast Quadrant, 3171 Kenwood. And if Lori Ballou or Kathy Pennock is here, awesome.
Wow.
This one was quite interesting. We liked how they really played with the windows upstairs and added a little more dimension to it all. So let me do this. Here's your candle. And the directions are on the back.
What was your inspiration?
That can be very inspirational.
I love that. That's great.
The next house.
If that was the case, Councilman Lennon would win every year.
There we go. Is let's see, we have the West Hazelhurst. Now this was a little different. We got there, and it's in the southwest quadrant, and it's actually two houses, 437 and 445 West Hazelhurst. So if Betty Davis, yes, that's her name, and John Carney are here, are either of you here? It appears that they got together and did a sort of joint effort in decorating, which was awesome. So both houses were decorated, and then all the trees across the front of both of their houses also had lights. So we will be getting those to them for that. So that's the first time I think we've actually done a joint award for two houses.
Excellent.
The next one is 236 Spencer, and this one you may recognize the address because they also won a beautification award. So they are very active decorators and got a little crazy out there in the yard with all sorts of cool things. So if you get a chance, go by and check out all these houses. If Melanie and Paul Miller are here.
Yes.
So because we misspelled their names on the beautification award certificate, we're giving them a redo. Your candle and your certificates.
Now wait a minute. So what is your motivation? Is it the same, or do you? What inspires you to do your house?
I have no clue. It's all my wife.
Inspiration enough.
Just that way.
You just say yes, dear.
You're a smart man.
Fair enough.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Nice job.
And lastly, we had two commercial businesses that were nominated, and this particular one, even though the photo really doesn't do it any justice, go check it out over on Woodward Heights. It's 701 Woodward Heights. It's the Woodward Heights Commerce Center, and they've got a whole lot of beautiful lights and things going on over there. Is anyone here from there? Nope. Okay. And lastly, we want to say happy holidays and wish you all a joyful new year here in Ferndale. And we look forward to seeing you at the Spring Perennial Exchange coming up next year. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for all the great work you guys do. Congratulations to all the winners for helping make Ferndale beautiful. Thank you.
Yes, indeed.
Awesome. Yes. And our last presentation is from our Housing Commission to tell us a little bit about your new strategic plan, which
Thank you.
Yep.
Is it loaded on here?
is it, we'll find out. We'll see.
Can't see. I can't see that far. Oh wait. Oh, here it is in front of me.
Is it there?
I did. I sent it to Bart a couple weeks ago.
I know we have hard copies of it,
Oh, okay. But it's so pretty. Okay. Well, I
or
can.
at least I do. Which I'll share with Mel. Because she's got electronic copies. No?
We'll see if we can get it going.
Okay.
I'll speak. We can just.
Oh, okay.
Well, thank you for having me here this evening to talk about the Ferndale Housing Commission's 2017 strategic plan. We're
Do you want a hard copy? Would that
Oh,
help you?
I've got one.
Okay.
Yep. So we started this effort back in October, but we thought this would be a nice time of year to share it with everyone to just kind of kickstart the new year. What really guided our conversations was how to go beyond shelter as a very basic human need, and even go beyond housing as an honorable pursuit, affordable housing within a community, and really get to home. And really talk about home as a springboard. And at this time of year, when we think about what home means to all of us, it really, hits your heart, and it makes you realize how important that is. when it comes to housing, to really create a home environment for people. So as the Ferndale Housing Commission began to think about our strategic plan for 2017 and what hopes we had for what we might achieve in the near term and even over the course of the next 3 to 5 years, we really started to talk about getting beyond shelter and housing and really getting to home and creating a place where our residents feel like they've got the support that they need to be their best self. And just to give some context when it comes to affordable housing, there are 19 million families in this country that qualify for affordable housing programs, and just 7.3 million people actually receive that assistance. So there is a considerable unmet demand out there, and so we're pleased here in Ferndale to be able to offer our residents, access to, again, one of the most basic of human needs. And also, as we entered into our conversation about strategic planning for the near term and a little bit longer term, we talked about demographics and how that might shape housing as we move forward. Traditionally, assistance to housing with families that have children was a big piece of the affordable housing puzzle. As we look to our future, though, the demographics are shifting, and families with children are decreasing, actually by 14%. Just in the last 9 years, while housing for seniors is increasing. It's up by 8%. The most significant increase, though, is among those folks who have a disability. That's up by 57%. So as we think about affordable housing, what that means to this community, we also need to think about the population that we serve and how those demographics are shifting and how that might shape how we as a housing commission look at affordable housing and plan for the future here within the community. So thinking about the city of Ferndale and affordable housing and the Housing Commission and why Ferndale is just such a rich environment to welcome affordable housing, it really is about the spirit of this community and seeing the police officers welcomed and honored for their service and seeing the beautiful holiday lights and just the spirit of this community. It just underscores why it's such a great match for the work that we're doing at the Ferndale Housing Commission because our residents are uniquely positioned where they have access to shopping, to cultural attractions, to the library, to transportation. All of these things are readily accessible to our community, which is so important to make sure that they feel plugged in, connected, and part of the fabric of the city of Ferndale community. So we really feel like as a housing commission, we're uniquely positioned to enhance our residents' experience and also bring to this community all of the gifts and talents that our residents have to offer. I'm sorry, I had such pretty pictures.
Wait.
Maybe we'll keep talking. Okay. So on October 8th, although this is the one with our pictures in, so maybe this is the point where we're kind of glad the pictures aren't up. But
Here it comes.
Oh, okay. They are.
Perfect timing.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so here's what we clicked through. Home is a springboard. We have these shifting demographics that I've mentioned. We really feel like Ferndale is such a beautiful community to welcome affordable housing and for us to do our work through the Housing Commission. And so that's just a foundation to kind of now describe how we're moving into where we see the future going for the Ferndale Housing Commission. We really have some visionary leadership. What am I saying no to? Yes, I want to say yes to this. Say yes. We do have. I put a question mark on here because we are one short on our commission. We've had some excellent interest. We're really looking for folks that bring a passion for affordable housing within the community, and also a strong financial background would be ideal to round out our board. But those who are interested can go online and apply through the city's website. We're hoping to fill out our board in 2017 to help bring the strategic plan to life. But back on October 8th, we did meet here within this building with the board and talk about who we are as a board and what we want to achieve and where we're going and how we're going to get there. That's a little bit hard to read, but we kind of started the conversation around mission and vision, of course. We talked a lot about values and what specific goals we might have to help move ourselves in the direction of achieving that mission. We came up with some pretty specific plans, and then we got to budgets and measures as well. Kind of guiding our conversation was how do we bring superior performance to the Ferndale Housing Commission? How do we have a distinctive impact here in this community? How can we bring an enduring legacy when it comes to affordable housing here within Ferndale? We talked a lot about what's going to guide us moving forward. Something that I really enjoyed about our day together and about how we're going to bring this plan to life is really how people-centered we are. Our focus is on our residents and how we can enrich their experience, but also in what Ferndale Housing can bring to the community and how we can connect and offer this community a lot as well. We did take the opportunity to update our mission. Thank you for the picture, Councilman Martin. This is a photo from our Thanksgiving dinner at Withington West. We did update our mission. It was very focused on, housing and shelter and affordable housing, kind of at that basic level. And again, we tried to get a little more aspirational here, and we really committed to providing high-quality affordable housing and also access to the kinds of social and community services that are going to enrich our residents' lives. We want to make sure that we have a diverse and inclusive community that's caring, participatory, and really values each person as an individual. I am not going to read all of these words to you, but I provided it to illustrate that we actually have 2 pages worth of really detailed plans. What we did was tie each of these goals to our mission. We really tried to articulate what specific goals and actions we're going to take moving forward. We came up with outcomes or success that we would see as defining our achievement of those, and then what evidence or measures might we use to gauge that progress. And then we're working on the timeframes and the budgets. The one that I guess I would highlight for you, though, is that caring, participatory environment that values each person. On a staff level, we're really making a lot of changes internally to make sure that we're absolutely customer focused. We're doing things like secret shopper experiences, so you never know who's going to call or come in. Make sure that people are always providing the most excellent service available. I just today finished all of the performance evaluations for staff that tie to and integrate these strategic plans into their daily tasks and the measures that they'll be held accountable for on an individual basis. We're doing a lot more customer feedback forms. We're going to be doing surveys. So we're putting in place a lot of very specific kinds of measures to make sure that we're making progress in all of these areas. And so for 2017, we've got our plan in place, and now we work. I just put a little quote here that perseverance is the hard work you do after you get tired of doing the hard work you already did. We're just going to keep pushing. We're going to keep striving, and I think we're going to have a great 2017, and I can't wait to let you know about all of our great progress. Thank you so much.
So, does anyone have any comments or questions?
I have a comment. I was asked recently, if I may, by a reporter what the strongest move that the Housing Commission's made in the last 2 years, and I would say hiring an incredibly effective executive director. So that was the answer I gave her. I did make the article, but honestly, this is a tremendous accomplishment, this plan. So thank you.
And just following up on that, I think you've brought back trust to this organization and trust between partners, and I think that is critical to help moving the organization forward. So thank you for your leadership.
Well, thank you for
and
saying,
the boards.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that word. I think that the board is absolutely phenomenal, and what I like, I'm stealing a phrase that I heard at a presentation that Gloria Steinem made. You move at the speed of trust, and I absolutely believe that. Mm-hmm. You can only go as fast as you're building that trust, and you can only succeed when you've got that behind you. So we're working every day, and we're doing great things. So I couldn't be more proud to be part of this organization and truly this community.
And regaining trust is not easy, and so I know that it is hard work, but you've done great. I love the fact that your first goal is around access to greater social and community services, which means you're thinking not just about the literal house where they live, but the way they're connected to the services and the community that will make this a richer experience for them. So I would just really appreciate all the thoughtfulness that went into this and the hard work that you're doing. So thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
All right. All right, so that concludes our presentations. The next item of business would be call to audience, and this is your opportunity, if you're here with us in person, to address council on any issue that you would like that's not on the agenda, because we'll let you speak to that when we get to that portion of the agenda. But if there's anything that you'd like to tell council this evening, there's 3 minutes that are absolutely yours to say what you like. So come on up, give us your name and your address. Cindy, I could have called you in presentations as well, because
I'm going to sneak in here. Cindy Wilcock from the Ferndale DDA.
And Cookie Maker, thank you.
Yes.
Delicious.
Holiday Ice Festival 2016, the last event of the DDA season, is behind us. The weather actually cooperated for the first time in a long time, and most of the ice sculptures are still around town and still look really good. So I just wanted to come up and thank the people who made it all possible, because we can't do events without our sponsors and our volunteers and our businesses. So Kreger Plumbing and Sewer Services was our title sponsor. They're just absolutely wonderful and a wonderful asset to our town, as well as Credit Union One and Giffords Webster, who sponsored our hayride and our warming tent. The partners that we had that helped us pull this off were amazing. I can't say thank you enough to the Ferndale DPW. Not only did they bling up the hayride and run the hayride all day out in the cold and help people get on and off it, but as always, they rode to my rescue, starting with a 5:30 panic text. Oh my God, we have no power. And we're going live on TV, and the ice sculptor needs power. So they came right out, they hooked us up, and they helped make adjustments all day. And those guys, they do it happily, they do it cheerfully. I never know that I'm as big as an annoyance to them as I obviously must be. So they're just amazing, and I can't say thank you enough to them. The Ferndale Police Auxiliary are there all day, walking around town, interacting with people. The Ferndale Fire Department makes sure Santa arrives in grand style, so we appreciate that. Our volunteers who came out and helped us get Schiffer Park area ready and then stayed throughout the day. Michelle Kress, Kat Welsh, Aaron Molnar, Rick Axe. Our Lunch with Santa ladies, Francine, Sandy, Diana, and Betty. Of course, our two photographers, Larry Mills, who's been doing it for longer than I've been around, as well as Bernie LaFramboise, who literally jumped in at the last minute when our intended morning photographer had an emergency come up and had to cancel on us Friday morning, the day before the event. Bernie jumped in, and those guys literally stand out there for 2 hours at a time with their finger on that shutter button, not moving, and it was cold. So I can't say thank you enough to them. Of course, the man in the red suit who sat out there all day, the jolly man, or he was usually mostly jolly. He shall remain nameless, but I love him.
Yeah.
So I just want, and of course, our 47 businesses who sponsor ice sculptures and make it all happen, and Mayor Coulter, who came out and joined us bright and early in the morning to help promote our event. So I just wanted to say thank you for everybody. It was great to see everybody out, and hopefully the ice sculptures stay around, but not too long, because we could all use a little bit warm-up, I think.
Well, and thank you to you, Cindy. You were there bright and early, and you were there all day, and it was a freezing cold day, but you do a great job in organizing that.
Thank you,
so
and
thank you.
I hope everybody has a happy holiday, and we're looking forward to lots of fun things in 2017.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thanks, Cindy. Yeah, that's worth an applause. It was a very fun day. Anyone else like to address council this evening? All right. Seeing no one else, we'll move on then. We'll go on to the next item of business, which is a public hearing, and the public hearing is on the East Breckenridge right-of-way vacation resolution. And Justin is going to introduce that item.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So as with any right-of-way vacation or alley vacation, this is sort of a two-step process. So at the November 14th City Council meeting, Council resolved to schedule a public hearing, and so that's what we're here to do today. After the hearing was noticed in a paper in the city and through the city's website and such. So the application that was before Council was for the Madison Heights Glass Company, just over near East Camborne and bordered by East Camborne and East Breckenridge and the railroad tracks. So the application was to vacate this portion of East Breckenridge to enclose the Madison Heights Glass campus and also limit some of the dangerous cut-through traffic that have been happening on the property. But Madison Heights Glass is the property owner that owns all the parcels around it, so this would be just essentially containing everything, making it safer for employees in the parking lot and loading between the buildings. So I'm here to answer any questions I might have before the hearing.
So we need to do the public hearing, correct?
Correct, Your Honor. Just to add, notice was circulated in paper for 2 successive weeks as required under the charter. So
Okay.
that has been achieved.
Good. So let's do that. So we'll open up the public hearing, and I'll ask if there's anyone from the public that would like to address council this evening on the vacation of a public alley on East Breckenridge, as noted in the packet. Don't see anyone here. Have we received any communications on this? Maybe I'll ask the clerk. Any
I
emails
haven't.
or letters? Not that to our knowledge. All right. So, all right. Seeing no one who wants to address council, we will close the public hearing portion, and now I will open it up to council's questions and/or motion.
I'll move that City Council, after notice and holding of a public hearing, resolves to approve and adopt the submitted resolution vacating the portion of East Breckenridge right-of-way between the railroad and Hilton Road.
I support.
Moved by Martin and supported by Piana. Any discussion? We really did have this discussion in November, so so the public knows we've actually had sort of a thorough discussion about this. But all right, if there's no further discussion, I'll ask Marnie to call the roll, please.
Councilmembers Martin,
Yes.
Piana,
Yes.
Leaks May,
Yes.
and Mayor Coulter.
Yes, thank you very much. That item passes. Thank you, Justin.
Thank you.
All right, next item of business is our consent agenda. Consent agenda items are items that council considers routine and we enact in one motion unless council pulls something from the consent agenda. Let me read that now. Item A is the approval of the minutes of the regular meeting held November 28, 2016. Item B is the approval of the ClickFix agreement in the amount of $18,880 as submitted by our city manager. Item C is the approval of the Envisio Solutions agreement in the amount of $15,530 from the account listed in the packet. Item D is the approval of the parking lease agreement between the city and Karma Nightclub LLC. Item E is the approval of the Randall Russell Strategic Plan Agreement for an amount not to exceed $4,000 from the account listed. Item F is the approval of the resolution declaring the city of Ferndale a bat-friendly city as submitted by our city clerk. Item G is the approval of the DAPL pipeline protest resolution of support as submitted by Councilman Martin. Item H is the approval of the purchase of palletized ice melt in the amount of $4,948 from the account listed in your packet. Item I is the approval of 3-year cross-connection control services with Hydro Corp in the amount of $63,720 from the account listed in the packet. Item J is the approval of the Siemens software update in the amount of $15,530 from the account listed. And finally, the approval of the bills and payroll as submitted by the city manager's office, subject to review by the council finance committee. What is council's pleasure on the consent agenda this evening?
Go ahead.
Sorry. I would like to remove consent agenda item B for just questions.
I have questions on that one as well. Do we need to remove it, or can we just ask the question?
Oh, I can just ask the questions.
If you have questions, that would be fine.
Yeah.
Yep. Go ahead.
Okay.
I mean, if you don't like the answers, you can remove it.
Right. Right?
Well, hang on. Let me get my questions.
Okay.
I prepared them.
Yes.
Hang on. Oh, my God. Joe, do you want to? They're for you, Joe.
Before I begin, could I also recommend revisiting item C? The dollar amount in the agenda is incorrect.
I have that on my list, too.
Okay, good. Thanks. Good catch.
The reason I wanted to ask questions is because this is a significant strategic program and implementation project for the entire city staff, which will impact engagement with our residents significantly, and I think it deserves ongoing discussion whenever a major decision is brought to council for approval. But some of the questions that I have about ClickFix, which is a customer relationship management system, I'm wondering, how does the CRM integrate with our existing systems, with the BSNA or any other systems, and wondering how that's going to work.
Yeah, BSNA, ClickFix, sorry. One of the reasons we went with them after a pretty extensive interview process is their capacity to integrate. They have what they call an open API, which means that they can integrate their data with other databases. So they do have the ability to integrate with BSNA and Microsoft 365. The question will be, what can we do to get BSNA to pursue that integration?
Okay.
So it's possible, yes.
So further partnerships and probably investment to figure out how to make integration work down the road. Okay. And I was wondering, some of the user licenses were all for the, I think, city department heads. because there's only 12 user license, can you explain how that will work with our workers out in the field? And will they need mobile devices in order to?
Yeah, so they will be equipped with mobile devices. If I could start, we'll focus, the first thing with SeeClickFix we want to do is take our time in rolling it out, because this is really going to change our work culture and the way we process workflows through many departments, probably most specifically related to DPW and CED. We've held meetings with SeeClickFix and the department heads so they could ask some questions and kind of set expectations for them. I lost what was your original question? Because that was really long.
Well, we need to provide mobile devices for our workers
Yes,
in the
so
field
yes,
in
I'm
order
sorry,
to
that's where I
connect.
was leading that.
Is that a
Yes.
future investment expectation as well?
We will be, the CED already is equipped with mobile devices. They've been working off of tablet computers for a long time. This is something we'll be introducing to the DPW. We'd be transitioning off paper to tablets. And for the licensing, right now we are going to be just providing licensing rights which allow you administrative access, ability to set up workflows, and then analysis of actual performance. That's really what those licenses permit you. Those people in the field, they can receive requests from citizens, they can receive requests from city staff, and then they can respond to those requests. But the licensing doesn't give them access to the reporting.
Okay. All right. And then who's exactly on the implementation team other than you two?
The implementation team will be consisting of myself, DPW, IT, and economic development.
Okay. And Kara?
Principally. Yes. Kara will be integral in rolling out the promotions communications of this.
Okay.
We'll partner with SeeClickFix as well.
Okay. And then
so the agreement, right now we have kind of a 4 to 5 month ramp up internal plan in building this into our process before we're ready to really promote this. So one of the goals for myself would be to come back to City Council and do a public presentation before we're ready to roll it out, to kind of reveal the mobile application, reveal the website portal, and then make sure to talk a little bit about our process over the past 4 to 5 months.
Okay, and then my final question, I don't see it in here about data safety, integrity, and do they have encryption? Have they ever been data stolen or anything like that? Because as we move more to the cloud, I'm worried or concerned about making sure that.
Yeah, we're very selective with who we allow to host our data. So SeeClickFix has a partnership with Amazon Web Services, which has a specific section for government encryption and government regulations. It's actually sets the standards for us to adhere to in terms of data hosting and data storage. So SeeClickFix does do that. That is part of our licensing fees. They pay for the hosting, and we pay them to manage that, secure that, and make sure that it's in compliance with all regulation standards. The other one would be Microsoft's cloud, which we have some work things stored in the Microsoft cloud as well.
Okay, that's all I have for now.
Councilman Martin.
Thanks. Through the chair. So you've got a section on performance benchmarking in the write-up for council, but it really doesn't tell me what you're going to measure. How are you defining success here? What are the metrics that you're going to track, and what's your goal?
The end game is all going to tie back into us establishing our workflow processes. We are actually introducing process development internally for a lot of our field workers for the first time. We have a lot. This is really moving people off paper into the digital world. And so one of our first goals is to kind of document the actual process, refine it where needed, include the technology into the process, and then interview the department heads about what their performance critical success factors are in terms of operations. So SeeClickFix is specific to measuring performance in operations.
Right. So you didn't define those critical success factors prior to selecting a vendor?
No.
Okay. The 12 licenses, I just want to ask the same question probably a different way. So council will not receive a request for more money for licenses once we approve this tonight?
No.
Okay. And then is there a functionality to this that when they do submit the ticket, hopefully online, that there's a receipt or a ticket number that gets generated that allows the resident some assurance that we got it?
Yeah, actually, that's the best thing about SeeClickFix. So when someone submits a request via the mobile app for Ferndale or the website, you receive a ticket number with a link to the public portal that actually allows you to track the process on your request. So if it hasn't been responded to in quite some time, You can engage with whoever received that ticket, and you will get that direct contact information as well. This is precisely why we have to make sure that we've worked this out internally before we roll this out to the public to make sure it's truly effective.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. And I think this is a terrific move, but we are also keeping the traditional routes of work orders open, correct? Residents will still be able to call, stop by, talk
For
to
the
city
resident
worker.
experience, yes. We
Okay.
still say, call us, stop by, talk to us about your service request, but from an internal perspective, we're going to be directing our staff to enter in every single experience with a resident via C-Click Fix so we can start tracking real performance and service requests.
Great, thanks. Those are my questions for B. I do have questions on a number of other ones.
I don't know.
A couple more. Yeah, I did have a question on C, but it sounds like you caught that. It's $11,800.
It's $11,800.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks. And then for item J.
The Siemens software.
The Siemens software, yeah, 129. There was, I'm sorry, let me find my note. It's right here. So in the actual document itself, there's a conversation about, it says the primary scope of this project is to update server software and to relocate said server. But previous in the write-up, it says we're eliminating the server. So are we eliminating it, or are they moving it somewhere else?
Both. We're
Up to the
eliminating
cloud?
we're eliminating the physical server.
Okay.
And we're going to move the actual server into our virtual environment, which is hosted in the city. So by doing so, we don't have to actually replace the server with a physical machine. We can just replicate it in a virtual environment.
So you're not talking about server as hardware?
No.
Okay.
This is going to actually eliminate one more server from the network.
Okay, I was just confused by that, and it's probably my own lack of technical knowledge.
Nope, sorry.
No, that's cool. I appreciate it. Thank you. That's it.
All right. We need a motion for the consent agenda.
I move to accept the consent agenda as presented.
Support.
Moved by Piana and supported by Leaks May. Now, any other questions, comments, concerns about the consent agenda?
I would actually, because we have the Lego League here, I'd like to read the consent agenda, the resolution as to what they advocated for so that they can hear what's, once accepted, will be going on the books in Ferndale. So.
Please do.
Okay.
Yes.
Whereas the Ferndale Blockheads, the first Lego League team from the Ferndale Upper Elementary School, is requesting the City of Ferndale declare itself a bat-friendly city in order to promote bat conservation. Whereas the Ferndale Blockheads request that the city encourage its residents to install bat houses, plant native wildflower gardens, and provide a water source for bats. Whereas the Ferndale Blockheads further request that the City of Ferndale establish an annual Night of the Bat on October 31st to celebrate bats and further promote bat conservation. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Ferndale. The City Council declares the City of Ferndale a bat-friendly city, declaring October 31st the Night of the Bat, and agrees to encourage its residents to install bat houses, plant native wildflowers, flower gardens, and provide a water source, as submitted by the City Clerk.
Excellent.
And I was going to say, may they have a copy of the resolution at some point, Marnie? Thank
Yeah,
you.
we'll make sure you get an official signed copy of the resolution as well. Thank you for all your work in making that happen. Can't wait to see what you've got planned for the 31st. Hopefully there's some creative ideas. Excellent.
Through the chair, I'd like to read part of the Standing Rock resolution as well.
Yes, please.
Last council meeting, Rebecca Phoenix came and presented a resolution requesting that we pass in support of the Standing Rock Sioux tribe, and it's a rather lengthy resolution, and I think Rebecca did a great job outlining it last time. So I'd just like to read a portion of it that recognizes Ferndale's Human Rights Ordinance of 2016. The City of Ferndale recognizes the second Monday in October is Indigenous Peoples Day, and that the City of Ferndale promotes the closing of the equity gap for Indigenous peoples through policies and practices that reflect the experiences of Indigenous peoples, ensure greater access and opportunity, and honor our nation's Indigenous roots, history, and contributions. Ferndale has a responsibility to oppose the systematic racism towards Indigenous people in the United States, which perpetuates high rates of poverty and income inequality, exacerbating disproportionate health, education, and social crises. Whereas any spill in the Missouri River would irreparably harm the Standing Rock Sioux Tribe's treaty reserved lands, territories, waters, and other resources, burial grounds, grave sites, and other sacred sites of cultural, religious, and historical significance, and spiritual relationships and indigenous ways of life. We talk about joining the other cities that have already passed a similar resolution, and that we concur that the City of Ferndale stands in support of Standing Rock Sioux Tribe's opposition to construction of the Dakota Access Pipeline across tribes' ancestral lands, waters, and sacred sites, and that the City of Ferndale proclaims support for the Standing Rock Sioux Tribe's opposition in the DAPL. So thank you, Rebecca, for bringing this to us. And letting us do this.
So that prompts a question on my part, which is we normally instruct that to be sent various places. Is that included in there? I don't recall. If not, I think at the very least, our United States senators would be a good place to start, and they can make sure that that gets communicated in Washington, D.C. So if we could, if without objection, if we could add communication to our 2 United States senators, that would be helpful. Thank you. Excellent. Anything else on the consent agenda? Actually, tonight was not all that routine, but very interesting.
Just to be official, is it too late that I can officially amend the motion to approve the consent agenda? Because C needs to. We talked about it, but we didn't actually change the agenda. So item C should read $11,800, not $15,530.
I will accept a friendly amendment.
Thank you.
So it's been moved by Piana. Well, actually,
Can I do a friendly amendment?
no, yeah, you made the motion, and it was supported by Leaks May. So I was going to say she supports that. Then the consent agenda, as amended with C being $11,800, is up for a vote. So unless there's any final comments or questions. And from the public, by the way, if there's anyone in the public that wants to address any of those items on the consent agenda. All right. Marnie, would you call the roll, please?
Councilmembers Piana,
Yes.
Leaks May,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
and Mayor Coulter.
Yes, thank you. The consent agenda is adopted. Moving on now to our regular agenda item, we have 3 items this evening. Item A is the consideration of the appointment of Blake Shear to the DDA, and I know he's here. Blake, why don't you come forward? We are happy to have you here and happy to have your interest in serving on the DDA. We know who you are, but why don't you tell the public just a little bit about yourself and your interest in serving on the DDA?
Well, Blake Shear, longtime resident, first-time caller. Currently, I am the banking center manager of Level 1 Bank, located right here in beautiful downtown Ferndale. I am just thrilled beyond belief for this opportunity to be a part of the DDA, to finally give back to a city that has given so much to me. I'm almost emotional thinking about it. The way that everything has come about and the opportunity and attending some of the meetings and some of the exciting, great things we have going on here in the city of Ferndale that I'm hoping to be a part of, that I finally, like I said, have been a resident for collectively probably 13 plus years. I finally am able to work in the community and serve the great people of Ferndale, and this is just another opportunity that I'm looking forward to, and I just want to thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So hang tight. First, we need a motion, and then council can ask any questions or comments that they have.
I'd move to confirm the appointments of Blake Shear to the Downtown Development Authority for a term ending December 31st, 2020.
Is there support?
Support.
So moved by Martin and supported by Leaks May. Now, are there questions or comments of council?
Thank you for volunteering.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, and I would reiterate that. Blake has already started to attend the meetings as he referenced, which is a great sign of your willingness to do the work. The DDA and the city have a huge project that we'll be kicking off together this year, which is a parking deck, and we look forward to your participation and your help with that, and for all the great things, as you heard Cindy, not only the events but the projects, and we just look forward to your participation in all of them. So thanks, Blake, for stepping up.
Thank you so much. I cannot wait.
All right.
Thank you.
Is there any other comments or questions? Yeah, absolutely. Right. Marnie, would you call the roll, please?
Councilmembers Leaks May,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Piana,
Yes.
and Mayor Coulter.
Yes, thank you. That item is adopted. Moving on now to regular agenda item B is the approval of the Housing Commission ordinance amendment recommending eliminating the residency requirement for not more than 2 board members as submitted by the Ferndale Housing Commission Executive Director. And who's going to introduce that item?
I'm happy to,
Do you
Your
want to
Honor.
introduce that, Dan? Is that
Your
part
Honor,
of our ordinance committee? Yep.
This matter was referred to the Ordinance Committee to consider modifying the language as it related to the residency requirement for members of the Housing Commission. The proposed draft before Council this evening would provide a change that would read, not less than 3 members shall be residents of the city. So it would continue the requirement that at least 3 of the 5-member board be residents of the city. And it's my understanding that the Ordinance Committee is supportive of the draft amendment before you this evening.
As a member of the Ordinance Committee, I can see Ann wants to say something too. We're very supportive. When we recommended the change with the approval of the chair of the Housing Commission, originally it was just to allow non-residents. We felt more comfortable if we could keep a majority residents on the Housing Commission, so we added the stipulation that up to 2 commissioners could be non-residents.
So is that what it is, up to 2, Dan? I thought I heard you say not more
Well,
than 3.
the way the language reads is not less than 3. Not less than 3 shall be residents of the
Shall
city.
be residents.
So potentially all 5 could be, but not less than 3 of the members shall be residents. So that allows for 2 of the members to be non-residents.
And it's a 5-person board?
It is.
So the pictures you had up was, because one of them was you, and you're not technically a board member. Okay. And there's no ability to increase the number, or if there was?
No, that number's by statute.
That number's by statute.
We'd explored that 2 years ago, and I first got on the commission.
I seem to recall that, right?
We were prohibited from being larger.
You're prohibited from raising the number.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
It does, just to, I don't want to take anybody's thunder, but it does continue to provide that 1 member of the Housing Commission, if possible, shall be a resident
Yes.
of the housing facility.
Okay. So, Ann, do you want to address this item?
Just to say that as we were...
And introduce yourself, just not that everyone doesn't know you, but, you know,
You're very kind.
there might be a
Thank
new
you.
resident in town.
Ann Heller, this time 1024 Leroy, speaking this time as the commission president for Ferndale Housing Commission. One of the things that we had talked when we were looking for people to replace positions is that not only do residents of Ferndale have a stake in exactly what is happening at the Housing Commission and making sure that our tenants are represented and are absolutely part of the city, but there's many people here that, specifically thinking of business owners and others who also have a stake in the Housing Commission and in our tenants, and frankly, in them as possible customers, possible clients, and they absolutely are. As you know, they spend a great deal of their money here in Ferndale. So there may be a lot of other people who have an interest in exactly what happens at the Housing Commission. And also, it just also brings more relevance for people to realize that we do not only serve the city of Ferndale, that we have business in all 3 counties, Wayne, Oakland, and Macomb. And they also, this also bears relevance because we also have financial dealings with all those cities too. So there's a chance that there's a lot of people that have a different kind of look, different kinds of interests, different kinds of concerns that would help make the Housing Commission richer and hopefully help us make decisions that are really relevant for not only Ferndale but for everybody that we serve. So we thought that this would be a good way to do it. And once again, protecting, once again, realizing that we are in Ferndale, once again, that we are the Housing Commission, but just to give everyone a chance to voice, everybody to put in some thoughts about what they think that we think would make the Housing Commission just a little bit richer, a little bit better.
Excellent. All right.
I'd also add, if I may, the other half of the Ordinance Committee, which is Councilman Pollock, is also supportive.
Yep. Okay. Other questions of clarification or a motion would be in order?
I would move that we accept the changes to ordinance number 1190 as presented.
I support.
So moved by Martin and supported by Piana. All right, now, any comments, questions that anyone has?
I think these are ongoing changes that the board is identifying as strategic, and so I support them.
Yep. Yes.
think it can only make the board better. Yeah, yes, absolutely.
I would say, given that from what I've seen so far, the changes on the Housing Commission, that I trust your judgment. I know you're going to find the right person, so go for it.
Thank you.
Just to clarify, it's a mayoral appointment.
It is.
still.
A mayoral
It is.
appointment.
Okay, I'll take that back to the board. Thank you. That's a very nice compliment.
It's a mayoral appointment, but I can assure you that I will seek Ann and the board and the executive director's input on that appointment, as I do all the appointments that I get a chance to make. So thank you. All right. If there are no other comments, is there anyone from the public that wants to address council on this issue? All right. Marnie, would you call the roll, please?
Council members Martin?
Yes.
Piana?
Yes.
Leaks May?
Yes.
And Mayor Coulter?
Yes. Thank you. That item is adopted.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you
ladies.
very much. Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, and then the final regular agenda item C is the approval of the memo of understanding with the Ferndale Public Schools as submitted by the Recreation Director. And Jill, are you going to introduce
I'll
that
take
item,
it.
or
It's
you'll
very
do that?
simple. Yeah,
Very simple. All right.
Ferndale Public Schools was updating their emergency management plan and needed to have a letter of understanding for any time that they needed to maybe possibly evacuate any of their school any part of their school, and we've agreed to let them use Kulik in that instance. So very rare, if hopefully never have to have that happen, but they did need a letter of understanding to make sure that that was allowable. So.
Through the chair, why is it necessary to have a letter of understanding? Wouldn't we just organically do this?
We would.
Yeah.
But I think it's part of their, I would assume he probably has to turn something into the OI or the ISD or some sort.
All right, and under that light, then, if we need this, do we need any kind of liability statement here that says if someone is injured in the use of the facility that we're held harmless?
That's likely to be the case anyway, but it wouldn't hurt as it relates to the relationship between the school district. If you wish to formalize it as a agreement, I mean this memo of understanding, it doesn't really provide even for execution by the mayor, but
if you're comfortable, I'm comfortable.
Well,
Well, I had the same question, so I guess inserting it here is not legally, I mean...
it would have to be reviewed and approved and agreed upon. Should you wish to insert language that the school district were to hold harmless the city of Ferndale in connection with any type of injuries that occurred in connection with their utilization of the premises. That's a pretty standard form. I don't believe they would object to it, but it hasn't been presented to them.
It hasn't been, okay. Is there a timing issue with doing this memorandum this evening?
I am not sure, but I mean, we could maybe put a caveat in there that if we
You
get
could-
that.
you could
approve it
approve it
subject to
now,
their-
you could bring back you could always rescind it and approve a corrected one come the 1st of January if there's a timing issue.
Do we also have the ability to approve it pending the insertion of...
You could do it contingent upon that language being presented to the...
Okay, let's try this. And I'd like to move that we accept the memo of understanding contingent upon agreement of language holding the city harmless in the event of any situation or injury at the Kulik Center.
Support.
All right. So moved by Martin, supported by Leaks May. Any other discussion or comments? All right, Marnie, would you call the roll, please?
Council members Piana?
Yes.
Leaks May?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
And Mayor Coulter?
Yes, thank you. That item is adopted. So that concludes our regular agenda. Moving on now to call to council. And the police chief is still here. Chief Collins, anything for the good of the community?
Only to wish everybody happy holidays and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Awesome.
For letting us serve.
And you want to mention anything about anything sitting out here on the table, or?
Oh, yeah, we that is our traditional cup and hat rendition for this year, and just to give, as always, council and upper staff, Joe can't have one, just so you know.
Joe can't have one?
We kept the tradition going to ignore Joe.
Thank you, Chief, and Merry Christmas to you and your staff as well. Thank you. Chief Sullivan, anything from the fire department this evening?
Yes, Your Honor. First, I'd like to start out by giving a shout out to Heather because that's the first time the Housing Commission has complied with fire department life safety concerns, handled them professionally and rapidly, and buttoned it all up like that. So that's our accolades also. So yes, absolutely the right choice. And then happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year to everyone. Again, with all the religious time of the year, a lot of people choose to use open live burn candles for their ceremonial purposes. Please make sure things are at least 3 to 5 feet away from them. They could be flammable. Also, please make sure you secure something that if it falls into something that cannot catch fire. And whenever possible, LEDs are preferred. I know there is a loss of ambience, but some people forget that they have a live candle burning and leave, and it is one of the larger causes of fires during the holidays. So happy holidays, but be safe.
Thanks, Chief. Appreciate it. Jill, anything from the Recreation Department this evening? Nothing tonight. All right. See anything else back there? Jordan, anything from Community Economic Development? No, sir. All right. Lloyd, anything from DPW this evening?
My trusty weather app with me as I approach the microphone. The city's experienced 2 significant long-duration snowstorms in the last week, 10 days. That's resulted in some ice pack because immediately following those storms, what happens is we've had some very low temperatures, near record-breaking temperatures as far as how low they've gone. That means that, as some public members of the public may know, the lower you get beyond 20 degrees, the less effective road salt is. And so relief is on the way. The crews have salted all of the roads in the city, and they will continue to service those roads. But looking at my weather app, starting tomorrow and for the next several days, temperatures are supposed to rise above 40 degrees. Yes. So we should see some relief. Okay. And Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays.
Yeah. Thanks, Lloyd. By the way, I know this was an issue a couple years ago. We got enough salt for the year? There are no shortages this year?
Yes, I've been checking, and our inventory's good, and there's no reports on the market having a shortage this year so far. Depends on the weather, and we've got an early start.
Sure. All right. Thanks, Lloyd. Appreciate it. Joe, anything from the Assistant City Manager's office this evening?
Yeah, I wanted to take this opportunity just to summarize kind of where we've come with the parking deck development on West Troy. Over the past month, we've submitted over 300 surveys. We had 25% response rate, which is very good. We've held a residential focus group, a public group, and last week we held a business focus group in conjunction with the DDA. That wraps up our focus groups and engagement efforts for the 2016 season. We're going to go into the holidays, but I want to remind people and encourage people to go to www.parkferndale.com. Follow the steps every step of the way. You can subscribe for alerts, and you'll see kind of a summary of all these focus groups, what has resulted from all these conversations. We're going to be posting those results online as we work through the notes over the next week.
Excellent.
If I may, Joe, yes. I just want to tell you that that group, the meeting, the public meeting went very well, and I thought you did a great job, so thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I would add to that that was a really nice and well-attended meeting, and with a lot of great constructive comments and feedback. And I just want to reassure the residents that any thoughts or concerns or comments or suggestions you have for us are being taken seriously and incorporated into the plan. So go to ferndaleparking.com. I got that right?
Parkferndale.com.
Parkferndale.com, excuse me, parkferndale.com, and share whatever other thoughts. Or, Joe's email is on the city website, and he would take those comments directly as well, right?
Absolutely.
Excellent.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Joe.
Happy holidays, too.
And thank you. Your last holiday childless.
Yes.
It'll be a whole different ballgame next year. Yeah.
New year coming into the third trimester.
Excellent. Wow. All right. Kara, anything from community and economic engagement this evening? Economic engagement? Communications and...
Kara.
Kara, is there anything from communications and community engagement this evening? Let's try that all over again. Nothing. All right.
Still nothing.
So, I know. Geez, where did that come from? So people may not realize, but we did our audit meeting before the regular, so we really dove into the financial numbers. But anything that you want to add to that or share about that from a finance perspective this evening? All right. Very good. They always skip the parking guy, but that's probably not fair. He sits through these meetings. If there's anything regarding parking that you would like to share with the residents, we would be more than happy to hear it. I don't mean to ignore you.
There is, in fact, one thing.
All right.
For the residents in the residential parking zones and the permit-only zones, we have, when was it? Back in October, we're online with the online renewal process.
Yeah.
And there still are quite a few people who haven't heard about it. Again, parkferndale.com, and there's a link for residents that goes directly to it. And if you have your old permits that you can see through, we have some improved models. You may be getting a notice on your car if it's on the street with one of the old. Not a ticket yet. We are just informing people that there are ways, and of course, they can come to City Hall to apply, to start the process.
Yeah.
And happy holidays to all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Through the chair, if I may, and I can assure you, you're enforcing in the residential parking zones based on the ticket I have on my car. So,
So it's working.
No, I mean sometimes
Glad
I get
it's
feedback
working.
they don't enforce it. I have clear evidence. I was wrong when I did it. I'm not complaining about it.
And for the residential enforcers who notice the cars, I believe one of the issues is not being able to see the initial permits. That
Well, then
they're
I had
very
a permit.
subtle,
No, kidding.
perhaps too subtle.
Thanks. No, appreciate it. Thank you for the update. All right, Marnie, anything from the city clerk's office this evening?
Nothing tonight, thank you.
All right. April, anything from the city manager's office?
Just a friendly reminder that due to the holiday season, there's a little bit of a different schedule at City Hall. I always get to talk about the cool stuff, right? As you know, we're typically closed on Fridays, but we will be closed this next Friday as well as Monday the 26th. And then we will close again on Monday, January 2nd, but we'll be open Tuesday through Thursday, regular normal times.
Excellent. Dan, Chris, anything?
Just one item, Mayor. There was an inquiry a couple weeks ago regarding property that the city owns on Saratoga, and a question as to whether the city had conveyed it. The city has not. There had been. There is a title issue with respect to a reversionary interest that is on the deed. So that is being explored as to whether or not it can be extinguished, which would afford for the city to transfer it in the future. But so it's still city property.
Okay. All right, very good. Good. Councilman Martin.
I just want to wish everybody a really, really wonderful, happy holiday season. My public service announcement is that while many, many, many of us are blessed during this time of year, there are a whole bunch of people that don't have good holiday experiences, are depressed, or maybe still grieving for lost ones. So we do good neighbors really, really well here in Ferndale, but it's easy to get busy and forget that too. So please take the time to check in with your neighbors, especially elderly folks that are alone, and just make sure they're okay. Thanks.
Excellent. Councilwoman Leesman.
I will echo Councilman Martin that I wish you all a happy holidays, a great new year, because I think that's when I'll see you next. I also want to, I've had some great experiences with the City of Ferndale businesses, either I personally or my family. So I am going to give a shout out to a business at the call to council every council meeting, and this one, the one that I will give a call out to is the newest edition, the Ferndale Family Pharmacy. They do great work, great customer service, and I welcome you to Ferndale. Thank you for doing a great job.
Excellent. For a lot of good stuff about them.
Yes.
Good. Mayor Pro Tem Piana.
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you to all of our city staff and our city managers for a great job this year. Lots of progress made, hard work to get us rowing in the same direction, in the same water, in the same boat, over the same finish line. We've been that way for a while, but I'm just making fun. But I just want to say I wanted to recognize your accomplishments, because there are accomplishments too on City Council, and I look forward to a very productive, very hard 2017. We have a lot on our plate, So with that note, safe travels, stay warm, relax, have fun, read something that's not on Facebook.
Amen.
Happy holidays.
Very good. And I would just echo a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holiday, Happy Hanukkah, and Happy Kwanzaa to all of our residents. And we will see you eager to continue to persevere and to continue the hard work of 2017. We look forward to it. Thank you to all the staff for your great efforts this year, and we look forward to 2017. And thank you, everybody. And with that, our meeting is adjourned.
Hey,
Yes, sir.
Total info, dailies.